Well, it was an illustration of how the teams in Formula One simply can't agree, even in the most extreme circumstances. The FIA didn't seem to want to help either. Formula One should be deeply ashamed of itself today. It lost all semblance of common sense here at Indianapolis. Pinch me. Did I really see this?
Sorry to say you did, James. Thanks to James and to Martin. Coronation Street is coming right up for you, by the way. More complications for Steve and Tracy. That is a soap opera worth watching. We had a bit of a soap opera here as well. I feel a bit sorry for Montero up there celebrating away. I mean, his first podium should be a great moment in a driver's career, but all very flat, all very hollow.
Yeah, it's a shame for him, obviously, but he knows in the bottom of his heart that it wasn't a true race. And it's just a huge disappointment. I don't think anybody involved in Formula One is proud of today. You know, and the biggest problem we've got 1,000 miles away on the other coast of the US or nearby there is a NASCAR race going on, and there's 43 cars still running.
Absolutely unfair on the drivers to get the reception they did. One or two team members are apparently getting a bit of aggravation as they leave the Indianapolis circuit. You can sympathise, but not condone that behaviour, I guess. But I mean, if we look to the race, I don't know how closely you watched it, to be quite honest, but there was one moment I suppose we might remember beyond this evening. Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello, a bit of a tete-a-tete between the two.
Yeah, just a situation. Schumacher coming out the pit lane after a pit stop. Rubens comes around the outside of him. Rubens probably just a little bit deep on braking and just puts himself on the grass. You know, at the end of it all, that was the only piece of excitement throughout the duration of the race. You know, in some ways, what do you say, Jim? It was two Ferraris having a slight mishap and trying to share the same piece of road, but I don't think those guys were really battling it out today in any means.
With a very familiar result, 84th victory for Michael Schumacher. You saw his face at the end of it. He enjoyed it as much as you all did. We'll be right back to complete our coverage of the United States Grand Prix. Disney, this Mickey Mouse Grand Prix did count, and there it was. There's the top six for you, as we predicted, and we are not taking any great pride or pleasure out of that. Michael Schumacher, Barrichello, two Ferraris, Montero, first podium for Jordan Karthikeyan, first points the Indian driver, and Albers and Friesacher getting points for Minardi as well. And the Drivers' Championship now, well, Michael Schumacher moved up to within 3 points of Kimi Räikkönen, and Barrichello scores a few as well. A lot of fans here did not have a nice day, including one from Manchester.
We came all the way from Manchester hoping to see a great race, and because I'm a big Formula One fan, and to find out this has happened, it's been a terrible disappointment for me. And I've got to go so many thousand miles back to England not having seen a proper race. I'm a Ferrari fan, but I'm more a fan of the Grand Prix, and we haven't seen anything today. It's a shame.
This is a
You sympathise with them. I'm not sure they will get a refund, though.
I'm not sure they get a refund, but at the end of the day, you know, there was 20 cars presented on the grid, but yes, only 6 of them run.
I suppose some compensation for you watching. At least you didn't pay money to see the United States Grand Prix. This fellow won it, Michael Schumacher.
Michael, obviously a difficult day. None of the Michelin runners competing after that first lap, after the formation lap. But nonetheless, you were out there, you were racing, and it looked pretty close between you and Rubens as you came out from your second pit stop there.
Yeah, very close. I'd say it was quite a race. The two of us we had going. There was only the two of us, and the team said, "Let's go and have fun," and that's what we had amongst us. Obviously, a bit of a strange Grand Prix. Not the right way to win my first one this year, but one of these out of 84 is not a big disaster anyway.
We saw some debris being thrown on the track, unfortunately. What were the track conditions like? And we saw your left rear tyre being examined quite closely in the first pit stop.
It was mainly bottles, a bit of beer, as far as I could smell, in the first corner. So, but conditions were okay, no problem.
Can you describe your emotions as the start approached? You presumably knew what the Michelin drivers were going to do, or suspected what they were going to do. What was going on inside your head?
We didn't know exactly what they were going to do. We heard certain things, but we were simply concentrating on ourselves, honestly.
And a good team performance, reliability was there, and you've won a Grand Prix again. You've broken that second longest losing streak you've had since '93.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, obviously with Rubens it was a close fight, but other than that, bit odd Grand Prix.
Joyless winner there. We came here in 2000 to Indianapolis. We thought that F1 had found a permanent American home. You heard the fans' reaction there, Mark. Get out of here. This show stinks.
You know, at the end of the day for me, no matter what the situation for Michelin with a tyre problem, I think the FIA have to answer to something, because they're the governing body. They should have come in and made something happen yesterday, not on the run-up to the race. We should have been well prepared, and we weren't.
Do you think, as someone said to me, it would have been better off not racing at all here rather than putting on a show like this?
That's a very difficult question to answer, Jim. At the end of the day, I still feel that there was enough time to get this situation clarified and also a solution for it, and it didn't happen.
Racing running through your blood just finally, Mark. In there, that must hurt you, what's happened here today.
It's an empty heart. It really is. And when you've been in Formula One for a period of time and you know everybody and you know how despondent they are at this moment in time, you know, it's a shameful event.
Okay, more highlights, if I can call them that, from here, 25 past midnight. Angus Scott and the team go rallying in Greece next Sunday. Let's hope we get normal service in France, qualifying 11:30 on the Saturday. That's followed by the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and race day Manicure we start at midday. Highlights around midnight. We've seen an F1 fiasco in peak time. Like David Coulthard, I feel sick and embarrassed to my stomach. Circumstances beyond our control. We can only say sorry. Good night.
F1 and ITV, sponsored by